Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Noah, and in this video, I want to share some of my thoughts, which I always am, really. This YouTube channel is really me sharing thoughts, but there was a tech week. It was called the Italian Tech Week that just occurred, I think, this week here. And the world's best friend, Jeff Bezos, had an interview where he shared his thoughts on AI bubble, the future, money, whatever. And I kind of skimmed through it, but towards the latter half of his interview, he started talking a lot about space, exploration, etc. And although I'm not any kind of physicist or anything like that, I can do math, right? I can do basic math. And there's just so many things that he talks about with this future of sending. I'm going to get into it really in this video, but there's a lot of issues that I have with what he says, to the point where it just doesn't make sense. And to a certain point, it actually starts to kind of piss me off, some of the things that he kind of talks about. So I'm going to run a few of these clips. I'm going to share my thoughts, and maybe if you're interested, you can share your thoughts in the comment section below as well.
We are doing R&D into how to build solar cells from lunar regolith on the surface of the moon. Because if you're going to go to the moon and stay on the moon, you need to be using the resources of the moon. You need to be harvesting the moon to make that cost effective.
So the moon.
I mean, I don't even know where to kind of start with that, right? If you're on the moon, right? And I kind of skipped, this is towards the end of, like I said, the entire interview, but if you're on the moon, you want to make use of the resources, right? There's not shit up there, right? On Earth here, we've got wood, we've got animals, we've got metal, we've got stone, we've got water, we've got, plants, right? We have, am I bold to say that we've got everything that we need right here? But, I know that it is kind of this, like he said, it's kind of an R&D thing, but there's not shit up there, right? That's all I want to say, on that point.
One of the things that's going to happen in the next, it's hard to know exactly when, it's 10 plus years, but I bet it's not more than 20 years. We're going to start building these giant gigawatt data centers in space. So these giant training clusters, those will be better built in space because we have solar power there 24/7, and the solar power there are no clouds and no rain, no weather, so you can build. We will be able to beat the cost of terrestrial data centers in space in the next couple of decades.
So now we know what Mr. Bezos wants to do, right? He wants to take all of the components that make up a data center. There's a lot of them. They're very heavy. And he wants to just shoot that shit up into orbit. With the solar panels, it'll run on its own. It'll be out of the way, no big deal. And that's basically it, right? We will run these data centers from space, and that'll be the life. This doesn't make any sense, right? And I'm not going to bore you guys by pulling up all of the costs associated with not only the components for the data center, but also sending it up there. It can't get sent over in one ship, right? Even the biggest ships, the rocket ships that we have today, such as like the Starship, would probably have to make anywhere from 50 to 100 successful trips back and forth to get everything up there, right? It's doable, right? I'm not going to lie. It's definitely within the realm of possibility, but that's for one data center. I want to bring up an example. There is a newish nuclear power plant that had some pretty big renovations done, and it started operating those newer reactors, right? Each reactor is kind of its own core or whatever. It added, two additional reactors. So now there's 4 total reactors at this one nuclear power plant somewhere in Georgia. I think the name is a little bit weird. I can't recall, but I did look at to see what type or what quantity of data centers the same ones I'm comparing to, in this Bezos example, it could power just on its own? The answer is like 45. This one nuclear power plant in Georgia can power, I mean, these are huge data centers, right? A 75 megawatt data center is a huge, that they can do a lot with that. This one power plant can power 45 of those. And what Jeff wants to do is to do all of this work to send all these parts back up for just one, right? All of that work, all of that money for one data center, when we can have the costs are going to be higher to build the nuclear power plant down here on Earth. But not only can it power 45 of 45x of what we would be able to if we just send one up into orbit, but they also last for 6 decades, 7 decades, when they're taken care of. And I find it really interesting how a lot of people hear these really, I shouldn't even say really wealthy, because really wealthy is like a heart surgeon, right? We're talking about far, far beyond that. A lot of people will just listen to the words that come out of their mouth and just not think. It's like they lose part of their critical thinking. And I'm not saying that what Jeff is saying, right? Getting a functional data center up in orbit is impossible. I think it's very possible, honestly. Like it's I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, right? Just out of vanity, just as a vanity project for Jeff here. But the question that I have is just why, right? Why would we, when, it might cost, billions and billions of dollars to build nuclear power plants here down on Earth, but we've got the space for it. We've got the architecture for it. We've got the people for it, the space for it. I mean, why not? I think he did mention in the clip that it's going to be more cost efficient. I don't think so, if I'm being quite honest, just because of how good we have it with nuclear power plants here. There's something like 92 to 94% efficient because of the technology that they take advantage of. I just don't understand why we would want to do all of this work, spend all of this time for one data center when we can get 45x that right here on Earth. It's not easy necessarily. I'm not going to say that. It takes a lot of money, regulations, et cetera, but the magnitude of what we can do with that one nuclear power plant here far surpasses what he's talking about in this clip. I think what happens to people when they are in a position like Jeff here, right, where the wealth is just, it's not even unfathomable. It's like a step beyond that, where you just don't know what to do. And I think what happens to these people is they really just lose it. They get so bored of day-to-day of Earth, right, apparently, that they want to start creating this kind of fantasy of leaving and doing this and doing that. And the reality, I hate to break it to these people, is that it's not going to happen. I don't think, it's not viable. Later in this interview, I can show you a clip here. He does talk about the future of living in space as well.
I believe we'll have in the next kind of couple of decades, I believe there will be millions of people living in space. That's how fast this is going to accelerate.
He mentions millions of people in the next some decades living in space. Can we just imagine that for a second, right? I think for the first week, you're going to be stoked, right? Because it is life-altering, right? It's a different world, whatever. I mean, we don't even know if you'd be on the moon necessarily, but let's say you are on the moon. Okay, great. It is a different world, quite literally. After that, what the fuck do you do? What do you do up there, right? The gravity is not the same, clearly. So you're basically forced to work out 3 times a day, as these astronauts do on the ISS, um, just to maintain a semblance of your muscle mass. And then when they still come down to Earth, when they come back down to Earth, they're still messed up. They still can't walk, even working out 3 times a week up in space. What do you do? You want to go for a swim? Too bad. You want to sit on your bidet, take a nice shit? Too bad. You want to go to the beach? Too bad. You want to go out drinking? Maybe, but not really at the same time, because you're with the same people in the same crowded space. It's not the same. And eventually, what's going to happen is you're going to be sitting, right, in your space station, floating around like this, looking out the window, and now you're going to be jealous of the people on Earth, getting to go to the beach, getting to go to that little town in some boony part of America to just have a little road trip, right? Because those experiences, pardon me, are what make us human, right? That this is where we belong. And no matter what kind of, it almost seems like these people are making living in space, living on the moon, kind of like this erotic thing. It's like this fetish fantasy. For me, it sounds horrible. I would love to go up, right, to see it, but could you imagine living there? Like I said, what the fuck do you do? What do you do? Is there Wi-Fi? Am I going to be able to watch the newest season of Stranger Things? I don't know. What do I do? I want to go outside. Okay, got to get a spacesuit on, float around. Well, it'd be nice to throw a football. It'd be nice to play golf. I hit the ball and it's, there's no stopping it, right? It's not us, right? It's not human. And for whatever reason, when you have as much money as some of these people do, I think you get bored of life and you're looking for something else that realistically doesn't make any fucking sense. He says 1 million people, right? He says millions, but you just imagine 10,000 people on in a box, basically in orbit or the moon, whichever, that you cannot leave. You're going in circles. You're basically, think about this, right? The biggest thing for me is that because of and people don't think about this for some reason, because we don't have the same gravity, essentially you become a vegetable up there, right? Your legs and your arms just become this weak little like sausage kind of moving around in the air, and that's supposed to be cool. We need to think, right? So a lot of people, like I said, this is the only thing I want you to take away from this video. A lot of people will listen to these type of talks and they can be interesting, right? Because it is true. Like, it's very within the realm of possibility to do these things, but they just listen and they stop thinking. They just stop. Critical thinking kind of just goes out the fucking window when one of the richest guys in the world, in history, is talking about something. So I encourage all of you to not just listen to this kind of stuff at face value and say, yeah, that'll be the life, when in reality, it would probably be hell, if I'm being quite honest with you. Like I said, if I'm ever offered a ticket, I would love to go on the next Blue Origin trip and then come back down and kiss the ground and say something cringy. But other than that, I want to be here, right? I want to be here with the other people. I want to do good with the other people. I want to be on the ground, to be honest with you. I want to feel gravity underneath my feet. And that's just me. So if you have stuck around this far in the video, thank you so much for kind of listening to my spiel. But of course, I want to hear from you guys as well. Do you have any opinions that I didn't mention in this video here? Do you want to go out there? Do you want to be out in space? And that's it. I'm not even going to get into it, but there's not shit out there, right? The stuff that we need to take care of is right here. And these kind of talks, although fun, are just not, I don't think they're meant to be really taken seriously. But like I said, if you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments. I would love to read them. Or, if you think I'm an idiot, leave a dislike, and you can leave a negative comment as well. With all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.